Welcome to our next lecture of non-destructive testing. In previous lecture we have discussed about the principle of eddy current testing. What are the various types of uh, parameters on which the eddy current is going to be affect? What are the different types of characteristics which we are going to obtain in eddy current? Now we are going to discuss how we are going to identify the eddy current. What are the various types of props which we generally use in eddy current testing? So what is a prop is nothing but generally it is a device which is generally used to find the how the eddy currents is going to flow, or how the amount of flux which is going to be changing when eddy current is generated. So these testing props are generally like a pen, series of different types. Generally I'm saying you it's type of a pen. So eddy current props are classified based upon the four basic categories. So those are general categories, how they are going to perform. First is absolute prop, next is differential prop, reflection prop, and hybrid prop. So what is absolute prop is nothing but it is a single coil prop. Single coil means it will be having a coil to which the current is allowed to flow. Because of the flow of current, the coil gets excited and it will create some amount of magnetic flux around it, because of which the material to which we have to identify the flaws will get excited, and again it will be get induced. So it will be sending some amount of current because of it is getting induced by magnetization. Because of getting magnetization, again it will be going to give some amount of eddy current. So because of that eddy current, there will be generation of small impedance between the exciting coil, that is nothing but primary coil and secondary coil. So we will see that. So when the secondary coil is sending some amount of current to primary coil, there will be resistance or impedance created between these two. Because of that, we can able to find the difference between the two currents, and we can able to identify the crack or flaws present in this. So absolute props can be generally used for flaw identification. Conductivity is the material, how far the conductive material is there. Measurement, conductive measurement. Lift off is nothing but to what extent the material should be allowed to come close to the surface. Already you have seen this skin effect and lift off. Skin effect is nothing but to what depth the material can be used to identify the cracks. Similarly, lift off is nothing but to what closeness we should bring so that the material gets easily magnetized. Okay, so the most simple coil comprises a ferrite rod with several turns of wire. So generally when this is at one end, which is positioned to close surface to the close to the surface of the product to be tested. When the crack for example occurs on the product surface, eddy current must travel around the crack that is to be detected by the change in impedance. When there is a crack, obviously it has to change some, because open surface is nothing but a destruction for the flow of current. Eddy current cannot flow through an open surface. If there is some open circuit, for example, you are creating a gap between the flow of electrons, there will be no current generally happening. So generally what eddy current does, it will try to change its path. Because of the change of the path, there will be a impedance created. That changing, because of its changing, there will be a small deformation which is generated in the eddy current. Because of that, you can able to identify the difference. Okay, so see this in this we have a plastic epoxy, we have a stainless steel rod. So this is a setup of eddy current testing arrangement. There is nothing but a probe. In this there will be a coil to which we are generally connecting this coil to an external device, that is nothing but AC current, to which we are sending some amount of current. So the plastic epoxy is used so that the magnetic fields can be allowed only to flow in particular direction, because plastic is a non-conductor of magnetic field or electric field. So we generally use to divert the magnetic field to a particular direction. Because of that, the magnetic field will be distributed like this. When magnetic field is distributed like this, so there will be generation of eddy current like this. So because of this eddy current, if some crack is there, it will change its path. So because of the change of the path, so this eddy current will try to nullify the primary current which is sent by the coil. So these two are in equal and opposite direction. It tries to become equal and opposite in direction. Because of that, there will be a generation of difference in the magnetic field, that is nothing but AC signal. So by that we can able to identify the defects. Okay, next is differential prop. In this differential prop, what we generally do is we have two coils similar to the what we say in this surface absolute prop. In this there will be two coils, whereas one coil is directly fixed to some reference values like your 0. So this is a reference value. to this another test coil is arranged, in which we don't know how much amount of flux is going to flow. So with the test specimen which has to be tested, we will bring these two reference and test coil close to the surface. Because of this, so this will send some amount of current around this crack. Sorry, let me show you. Around this surface. Because of this, there will be some amount of EF, that is nothing but eddy current generated. Similarly, there will be some eddy current generated here. So since we know that this is a reference, we will have some rough value where we are going, what amount of value we are going to get in this direction. But whereas because of presence of the crack here, this test coil will give some value, other than reference value. For example, let us take the reference value as 10. Since the material is same, we should provide 10. But whereas because of the presence of crack, the eddy current flowing through will be different one. Okay, so because of that, we can able to identify that this is not giving me a reference value because of presence of crack. For example, if it gives you a value of 8, means there is some amount of crack. So we'll try to move this differential probe to and fro to exactly find the location where the crack or flaw is present. Okay, so reflection probe works on the principle of both absolute and differential probe. In this, there will be one primary coil. This is my primary coil. So overall externally, which is present, this big one is my primary coil. So which is to which we connect generally an AC current or AC source. By this, the current flows through this, and this coil becomes excited and it will send a magnetic field. So after to the specimen to which we have to identify the flaws where we have present, we try to connect the coils, two coils, two secondary coils. Okay, so among these two secondary coils, one will be referral, another will be a test specimen. So because one will be giving you exact value, other will be giving you test value, similar to the previous case. So when this we send some particular amount of current through this, the reference value will be given by the reference signal, reference value. Other than that, the value which we are going to get from the secondary coil, by that we can able to identify what is the defect or how the flaw is present. Okay. Next is hybrid probes. Hybrid probes consists of a driver coil working on a reflection mode and surrounded by two sensing coil working on differential mode. Okay, reflection and a differential mode. It works on this and a differential this. Okay. Next, these probes are very sensitive to surface defects only. But basing upon the types of application, eddy current probes are again differentiated into 10 types. Surface, rotating, manual, bobbin probe, spot probe, weld probe, sliding probe, Dugner probe, encircling probe, pencil probe. Surface probes are generally which are used to identify the surface probes are small diameter, which are generally used on surfaces. It will send you a high frequencies. The applications are used limited to surface flaws only. It is not used for any other flaws. Like it is, if the flaws are present inside the surface, we cannot able to find them. The right angle surface probes are flexible. We will show the diagram. Surface probes are modified for the form of surface probes which are designed to reach the areas inaccessible to standard straight surface probes. So this is my surface probe. So this is brought near to the surface. So we can able to identify only the surface. We can able to change the direction of the we can make the surface as per the test specimen. We can able to send it in any direction. That is the advantage of the surface probe. Whereas rotating scanner probe is nothing but which is used is a mechanical device for automatically rotating the probe. So basing upon the type of hole, if there are some holes in which we have to identify the flaws, so the scanner will be continuously rotating. The probe will be continuously rotating, because if you send the probe in one direction, you cannot able to assess the hole where it is present. So we will try to rotate it in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. This type of probes provides with the differential and maintain a close tolerance, yielding to reliable result. So this is the probe where it is being rotated and will be sent inside the hole. So generally these are used in hole. Okay. Next is manual bolt probe. Manual bolt probes can rotate at right angle to the probe direction and be rotated by a hand with a fastener. So we will be having a fastener here. So by rotating the fastener, we can able to send. So it generally works in a perpendicular direction. Okay. So in this, the standard and customized diameters are available with absolute and differential coils. So all these probes are generally based upon either differential or absolute or reference or reflection probe. Okay. So basing among the first four which you have discussed, that is nothing but your first four hybrid, that is nothing but your hybrid, absolute, differential, reflection, and among these four props only all these props are designed. So bobbin props are generally internal bobbin props are meant for hollow circular section used in inspection of heat exchangers. Next, spot props are generally used for both surface and subsurfaces. So the diameter of the prop is usually larger for accommodating low frequency or high frequency. Okay, so this is bobbin prop. So it is having internal bob. So where we are connecting to the coil, the tube to be tested. So this is the coil where it is getting excited. So we will be moving this in front and back. Because of this, we can able to identify the flaws present inside the material. Okay. Next, welding prop. Welding prop is nothing but the place of weld we are going to inspect by using a prop. So these are generally used for to inspect only ferrous materials. They provide a cost-effective alternate to magnetic particle inspection method, which generally requires the part to be cleaned before the examination. Sliding props. Sliding props are nothing but which are designed to inspect the aircraft fastener holes. So with fasteners in place at high scanner rates. So it will be sending high frequency signals so that we can able to identify the flaws which are present, because they have given a particular application. It is generally used in aircrafts, so it should be more precise so that aircrafts are much sensitive to the outside environment. So the standards and it is being dependent upon large of human lifestyle dependent upon the aircraft. So standard size and the frequencies using reflection coil technique are often applied in major airframe inspection techniques. So when it is done on airframe, that is nothing but in the space. So next is Dugnut prop. Dugnut prop is used for holes. If there is some kind of screws, so then you can able to use this Dugnut prop. The prop will be like this. So there is a hole in which the material will be flowing. That is nothing but your bolt which we are going to be inspected will be passing through this. Encircling prop. In this type of prop, the coil encircles the test specimen from outside and is used for testing the rods, wires, pipes. So it is similar that it is having a hole on which we are going to allow the test specimen, like rods, wires can be used. Okay, so the rod which has to be inspected has been kept inside the hole. There will be a free space. So this free space is nothing but which does not allow the flow of the current. So because of this coil, it will get excited and it will send some magnetic field to the rod. Magnetic field, when it is sent to the rod will get magnetized and it will send you some amount of eddy current. Okay. Next is pencil props. Pencil props are highly portable. Portable means it can be used anywhere. It can be sent from one place to another place, and it is held between the fingers like pencil to connect. So holding this, we can able to move this. Okay, to inspect on any surface. Next is magnetic sensors. To when you are generating the when you are sending the current to flux, that is nothing but your primary current is being generated and which is sent to the secondary coil. So when secondary coil is creating some amount of eddy current, that eddy current has to be measured. So for identifying the eddy current, we need some kind of that small change of magnetic field which is generated because of eddy current. We have to measure that by using some kind of sensors. So those sensors are nothing but magnetic sensors. So that eddy current which is generated in the secondary coil or in the test specimen, that we have to be measured by using some kind of sensors. So for that we have three different type of sensors. One is magnetoresistive sensor, that is again made of of two types, that is spin valve and again is magnetic tunnel junction, that is nothing but MTJ. We generally call it as MTJ sensor. Okay, spin valve is generally called as SV sensor and MTJ sensor is nothing but magnetic tunnel sensor, magnetic tunnel junction sensor. Another is Hall effect sensor, SQUID. SQUID is a short form of superconductive quantum interference device. Superconductive quantum interference device. Okay, superconductive quantum interference device. So let us see what are these types of sensors. So the magnetic resistive sensors are magnetic field transducers. Transducers are nothing but which converts one form of signal to another form. Okay, that exhibits a linear change in electrical resistance under the external magnetic field. Okay, so when external magnetic field is present, so obviously there will be generation of electric resistance or electricity is generated. Because of the electrical current flow, if there is some kind of flaw, there will be some resistance generated. So these electrical resistance are generally studied by this magnetoresistive sensor. Magnetization, because of magnetization, electricity is flown, electricity is resisted, that resistance is censored by this resistor, that is nothing but magnetoresistive sensor. Okay, two types of magnetoresistive sensors are used in eddy current testing. One is spin wall, another is magnetic tunnel. The spin wall magnetometers are spin wall transistors used as a magnetic field sensor and have ferromagnetic semiconductor hybrid structure. The magnetic tunnel junctions are based upon the spin dependent tunneling effect. Dependent tunneling defect. So it will be having continuous spin and it will be trying to go inside. Okay. So the magnetoresistive sensors can be used in eddy current testing to detect the secondary field from the eddy current. These sensors provides a high sensitivity over the frequencies up to 100 megahertz and high resolution due to miniaturization. High resolutions can be used in this. So the main disadvantage of this is the resistive sensors are high temperature coefficients. Obviously, when it is being sending high frequencies, it may get high. It will be getting heated up fastly. So because of that, there will be a melting of the coils. Okay. Next is Hall effect sensors. Hall effect sensors can detect the magnetic field from the eddy currents. That is nothing but the magnetic field which is generated because of the eddy current and can be used in eddy current testing. Hall voltage is proportional to the current through the conductive material and the magnetic induction perpendicular to the conductor. So for example, if you are having a primary coil, so this is your primary coil, to this you are sending the voltage. Because of this voltage, because of the current, there will be a magnetic field generated, and because of that, this secondary coil get magnetized. Okay, that is magnetic induction perpendicular to the conductor. So the Hall devices are used mainly in millitesla or millitesla is a range, means it will be using 10 to the power of minus 3 Tesla. 1 Tesla is nothing but your flux density, that is nothing but flux per unit area. Okay, Henry per heads per unit area. Okay, and can be easily miniaturized and integrated with microelectronic circuit. So this is a diagram in which we are allowing a current. So this is a Hall element. Okay, so because of the flow of current in this, so there is generation of flux. Okay, so when the current is flowing, there will be generation of voltage that we are going to measure by a Hall voltage. Here we can able to identify how much amount of voltage is generated in this. So because of that, there will be a conduction, which is electromagnetic conduction is generated in this. Okay, so this, because of this, again this will become magnetized and this will try to send some amount of eddy current, and that eddy current will create some kind of magnetic field. So that field and this field will be opposite to another. Because of that, there will be a change in voltage which is generated here. So that whether we can able to identify how by what amount the eddy current has been generated, that we can able to identify. The main disadvantage of the Hall effect sensors are limited to sensitivity to silicon and relatively large offset. Okay, the measuring accuracy is much lower than the magnetoresistance based sensors. Okay, next is SQUID. SQUID is superconductive quantum interference devices are very sensitive magnetometers designed to measure the extremely weak magnetic field. Even if it is a small magnetic field, we can able to identify this. In this, they use two junctions, that is nothing but Josephson junctions. So these are the two Josephson junctions, this and this. So it has been connected to this. So we allow the current to flow through this. So the current is being passing through the junctions. So when it is brought near to the another testing specimen, it is having a magnetic field around this. So the test specimen, when it is brought near to this, so it will be sending some amount of magnetic field. So that magnetic field and this magnetic field will be creating a opposite direction. Because of that, the flow of current will be having a small deviation. That flow of current deviation will be studied by these Joseph junctions. So let us see how they have explained. In this magnetometer, two Joseph junctions forms a superconducting ring. So the output voltage is a function of applied flux. So as tiny flux signal produces a corresponding voltage swing around the SQUID, which can be measured by a suitable electronic circuit. In conventional eddy current system, where the magnetic field is produced by the eddy current is deflected by means of induction coil. So the typical field noise is about log T to the waves of heads. Heads is nothing but the frequency or eddy current frequency of about 100 kilohertz. So in some cases, the field noise is too high for certain applications, such as reduction of tiny oxide particles, especially if test materials are highly conductive, such as. Okay, next is displays. How we are going to display these differences which has been generated. So generally we know that the impedance is nothing but it is an both addition of both resistance as well as reluctance. Reluctance is nothing but the resistance to 3D, resistance to 3D, that is nothing but resistance to AC signals. Okay, so when we say reluctance is nothing but resistance to AC, whereas resistance is nothing but for a DC current. For obviously for a AC source there will be some amount of resistance, some amount of reactance. So this total together is called as impedance. When you see the phase diagram, we might have studied all these things in our electronics, BEEE or electronics. So if you see, then there will be in a phase of 90 degrees, and impedance is at an angle of right angle to them, most probably it is at 45 degrees. So that is nothing but the phase angle. If you use a display units for different kind of materials, for example, you are using a display device, display of eddy current responses on impedance, how the eddy current responses on impedance by using for a magnetic material. So if you see that this, instead of being this graph, the graph is going to be changed like this. The graph is going to be changed like this. So what we can analyze from this is initially the lift off is generally coming for reactance, whereas conductivity is coming for resistance. So initially the lift off will be increasing, after that the conductivity will be decreasing. If the crack is present, it will try to change, that is lift off will be increasing and conductivity will be resistance will be decreasing. Okay, conductivity will be decreasing. Okay, so see here, decrease in coil resistance, form eddy current testing, taking energy away from the coil. Increases in resistance, reactance, when increases in the reactance due to magnetic permeability of the steel concentrates the coil's magnetic field. Okay, next, display of eddy current response on impedance for non-magnetic materials. If the material is non-magnetic, so the lift off will be decreasing, that is because of non-magnetic material it will not allow the current to flow through this. There will be no inductions, primary induction or secondary induction happening. Because of that there will be lift off, that is nothing but the reactance will be falling down. Okay, so similarly there will be fall in the conductivity, or resistivity will be increasing. So when a crack presents, suddenly there will be increase in the reactance, but whereas the resistance will be decreasing, because when the crack is present, the crack will not allow the current to flow through this, but whereas the magnetic field or the AC current will be trying to allow to pass through this. Okay, so next is evaluation and interpretation. How we are going to evaluate is nothing but there are 3 different stages. So first of all, we will try to use a test prop for a conductive material to be tested. A point representing the test coil as a point which is called as coil in air, or simply air point. So the air point is in an impedance plane displays as shown in the figure. So as the test coil is brought in approximity with the test specimen, the display dot makes a trajectory, so it will try to move in a trajectory. So when this trajectory is coming, so when the impedance of the test specimen is as shown in the figure. Okay, so one of the most important factors affecting the eddy current signal is coupling between the specimen and the investigating probe. It translates the probe to a specimen separation or lift off. Okay, so when the inductance decreases, when we suddenly bring it into in a vicinity of a test specimen, because of that there will be generation of secondary magnetic field, because of that there will be fall in reactance. Okay, so the lift off eliminates the method help in interpretation of eddy current signal as a function of material discontinuity. In stage 3, the discontinuity is defected by the eddy current testing or characterized by the unique position of or pattern or impedance plane with the test variables generally aligned along the curve. So the direction of movement of the signal forms a conductive curve. So the curve may be properly termed as loci in terms of trace at a point. So generally this happens. So when it is falling off, suddenly when there is a crack or something presents, the resistance will be increasing. That is nothing but there will be 100. The conductivity will not be there, so the conductivity will become 0, so it will be decreasing. So if the crack is there, it will be increasing like this. Okay. So what are the applications? So applications of eddy current testing is nothing but material property determination, heat treatment evaluation, hardness, impurity testing, chemical composition, corrosion damage. So these can be tested. thickness measurement, like thick sheet metals, foils, paints, how far the material paint has been added to the surface, anode coating, how thickness the anode coating is done, flaw detections, generally testing of casted, wheeled, forged and rolled products, inspection of railway components can be done by using this. Okay, with this we have almost completed the second unit. So if someone is having any kind of doubts in this, I will try to share you the PDFs of this and try to share the PPTs of this, so that you can able to understand. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, so that we can wind up the syllabus as early as possible. Thank you.